is held in. I genuinely, for once, said I'd never ever ride another race again. And I shouldn't say again, but this is it. This won't be happening again because I can't. I'm too old and I'm too heavy. And but look, it'll be nice. Look, it's going to be a great day, and I say it's all great credit, and it's all due to Pat Mullen. So it's a day he should be. Look, it's a tough day for him, but it's a day that he should be very proud of, and hopefully him and the family will enjoy it.
Yeah. Good luck, AP. Thanks for chatting to us.
Cheers.
Nice words there from AP regarding Pat Mullen. Yeah, but like so many of he's talking his chances down. I don't think we're buying it, Kay, really. Anyone's buying it, are they?
I do. I think it's going to be an absolutely brilliant race later on, and it's all to play for.
I'd say you'll be okay.
Why are you so worried about getting to the start? What did Ozzy Valentine ran in the charity race? Yeah.
Oh, happy days.
He's run about 80 times.
Yeah, exactly. So he went the whole way across the middle to the mile and a half start with one of the Corinthian riders.
A mile and a half race. A mile and a half. No, he's a miler.
He ran in the mile and a half race. He was second to never
to talk about anything other than Albina.
Yeah, exactly. So you'll be grand going to the start.
See, she's canting away down there, Kate. Happy out, not a bother.
Good.
All is good.
Yeah, 7-4 about Albina. Fran's coming back in to rejoin us as well. Fran, overall, what did you make of them as a bunch in the preliminaries?
I thought under the stars looked really well at James Tate, and I think if that run in York wasn't too bad at 10 or 12 to 1, I wouldn't put off anybody having a go at an each way price. Soul Search looked good. Day I didn't get a look at in the ring. I was interested to see her, but we missed her. Albina, Kate, I didn't hear what you said. Is that her normal characteristics to get a bit on her toes? She wasn't sweating though,
No. And sometimes at home, if Mum takes too long to come out of the house in the morning, she could be sweating by the time Mum gets up to the...
She's the opposite of Josiah. She likes to see her mother come.
Yeah, exactly. But Fran, I looked at a few of them in the parade ring. I thought Love looked particularly well, and I definitely would second you on the James Tate horse under the stars. I thought she looked particularly well in the prelims.
James Tate be hardened by the run of Invincible Army in the previous race, and this filly, what she done in Ascot that day was quite taken, and only the second start for life in Group 3 company. She came through to lead late on, and I think it was another step along the way at York. A different scenario, flat 6 furlongs. Ground was particularly quick. Today the ground is not quite as quick, and a stiffer 6 she might be seen to better effect.
So 2-1 the field now, with Albina just edging out from 7-4, Dahier at 5-2, Love at 6, Soul Search at 8-1. Soul Search is one I know you've got healthy respect for here. Okay, tell us why.
Yeah, still, even though she's still a maiden, she was second to Love. She ran a very good race behind Roman Turbo, who we'll see in the National Stakes. But she's been running some really, really good races in defeat. And I think she's just one that is knocking on the door and could be a little bit of each way value.
Of course, it's just beginning to arrive down at the start then. And interesting move by Jim Bulger pitching the newcomer in here, Fran. I know, as Kevin said in the preliminaries, she would have been entered up for this a long way back, and maybe Jim feels it's just time to get her going and hope that she can pick up a few quid today. But it's something I think we have seen him do before, isn't it?
Yeah, seen him do it before, and I've seen it come off once or twice, Gary, where they've outperformed expectations. That said, it's a huge ask for us to take on a fielder this strength and depth with her experience. Interested to see how she goes. She's looked backward looking filly in the ring who's going to be a better filly next season, and it'd be just, the fact he pitched in here today, it's worth a look.
There's also a very lack of 7 furlong fillies maidens in the Irish calendar. I don't think on the turf there isn't another one that isn't needed.
Have you not won enough of them in this stage?
No, but I'm just saying they actually, HRI did put an extra one on in Naas next week, because there wasn't one on the turf until the 26th of October. So,
and Kate, just give us an update. We'll just try and take your mind off Albina for a second. Give us an update on some of the other Star 2-year-old fillies. Alpine Star, where's she likely to go? I know she was kind of first reserve for today, wasn't she?
Yeah, she was, but Alpine Star and Cayenne Pepper, we're going to have a look at. One of them's going to go Arc Weekend to the Primas Busek, isn't it? Yeah. One of them is going to go there, and another one will probably go to the mile at Newmarket, and it will just depend on the grounds where they go.
And here is Albina just down at the start. We've got 9-4 joint favourites now, so she's edging out all the while, and there is confirmation of that on screen with Love at 6-1, Soul Search at 8, and Tango is a big springer here, Fran. 9 from 16. See Nathan O'Brien's fillies improving leaps and bounds. in plenty of examples of that in the last few weeks, and indeed just this weekend. Is that one you can make an each-way case for at the very least?
Gary, you can never rule out Aidan O'Brien's. You know, I know she's had 2 below par runs, well, slightly below par runs in better company, but if you go back to the Royal Ascot run, it wasn't too bad a run that day behind Raffle Prize, over 5 furlongs in a day. When she won her maiden, she was quite impressive, but she's got to take a big step up. Perhaps at each way prices, the way Aidens are being run all day, particularly the second strings over the weekend. You can see why people maybe are taking an interest in her.
Okay, the loading process at an advanced stage. There goes the hire for Roger Varian and jockey William Buick, who's got a big day today, and Albina, one of those still out the back. So without further ado, for the Moyglare Stud Stakes 7 furlong Group 1 for the 2-year-old fillies, we'll rejoin Jerry Hammett.
Assurance. Albina. Soul Search gone in. And the stable companions, Tango, So Wonderful, and Love. White flag. They're off. The 9 fillies break away over 7 furlongs in the Moyglare Stud Stakes Group 1, and well away over on the far side in the blue cap Tango. Soul Search is prominent as they head across towards the elbow. They're followed by Albina, and on the outside the chestnut filly Love in a striped cap. They're being followed in the early stages by So Wonderful, Orange Hat, and then comes Precious Moments. On the outside is Daye, who's racing in company with Under the Stars, and behind the English challengers is Assurance. Continuing on to the 4, and on the rail it's Tango and Donegal O'Brien, leading to halfway Soul Search, and Colin Keane followed by Love, and Ryan Moore on the outside of Albina and Shane Foley as they head past the junction of the courses. Then comes So Wonderful and Daye next with Under the Stars, and then comes Precious Moments and Assurance. They've 2.5 to go in the Moyglare Stud Stakes. It's Tango almost joined by Soul Search, 1 from the rail. Love is on the outside of Albina, not much between these 4, being followed by So Wonderful, and then comes Daye racing down to the final furlong. Soul Search just hits the front, quickly challenged by Love. Daye is running on the outside of Albina. It's Love and Ryan Moore getting to the front from Daye on the outside as they run towards the finish. What a weekend for Manny Doyle. Love has lifted the Moyglare from Daye, and So Wonderful just behind him in 3rd spot.
Well, Deja Vu, Love and Ryan Moore, another winner for Aidan O'Brien here. They quickly doubled up after landing the Flying 5 with Fairyland, and Love, another example of a filly who's been on the go and kept quite busy, but holding her form well and probably producing a career best here, Fran. In fact, just before we hear from the guys, let's rejoin Nick Luck.
Aidan O'Brien is over my right shoulder. This is turning into a pretty dreamy weekend, even by your standards, isn't it?
Yeah, I know, incredible, Nick. So, listen, Stephen rides this filly all the time, so Ed is in charge of her, Seamus, John, everyone. So, listen, a lot of people put in a lot of hard work to make it happen, and sure, listen, the lads put in so much day in, and they're beautifully bred horses, and obviously this filly by Galileo again, you know, so it's Ryan gave her a great ride. I'm privileged to be involved with the whole thing, Nick, really.
Going into today, I know Ryan's riding her, but was she the clear standout for you going?
Well, we thought that she was the filly when we felt that she was going to step up when she went to a mile. You know, a little bit of worry was that I was still 7, but we were trying to keep her at 7 as long as we could. We didn't want to step her up because we had her eye that she could step up to the filly's mile or something after this. You know, so she's very genuine. Progressed with every run. She's a typical Galileo filly.
Well, I was going to make a point of that actually, because it's not only been another great weekend for you, but it's been an excellent weekend for Galileo. The ground's been on the quick side, on the good, quick, flat racing ground side, and the races have been quite honestly run. That's not a coincidence.
No, well, I think honestly run is the thing. They love honest paces. You know, they're so genuine, they're so straightforward, and sometimes when races are slow, it can be messy, and always maybe the best horse at that best strip doesn't always win. So we don't ever mind when if you learn from a race and the race is solid and you know whether to go up and trip or go back and trip. Or I think everyone feels if it's good, if everybody gets a good clear shot at it and you finish where you finish, you can learn and go forward from that. I think usually, you know, so.
So she stays well, she travels well off a strong pace, and she finds plenty of pressure. We've seen that today. This was a Breeders' Cup Challenge Series race win and you're in. Would that be something in your mind for her?
Yeah, obviously the lads will decide that, Nick. They make all those decisions. We tell them how they are and what we feel about them, and then they decide whether they want to go again or not. I would imagine that she looks like a filly that's made for the fillies mile in Newmarket. So, but we'll wait and see obviously what Ryan says and what the lads want to do and everything. But that's what you think, you know.
Aidan, well done, and onwards and upwards.
Pleasure, Nick. Thanks very much, Nick.
Thanks, Nick. Yes, I'm sure it will be onwards and upwards for that man O'Brien again, because he's got plenty of chances to come throughout the rest of the afternoon. Timmy Hyde just offering his congratulations there. And 3/4 of a length, the winning margin. Daya finishing off a race very well in second spot, a heavily backed favourite, but ultimately finding Love just too strong. And Kate's just left us to get the debrief on the favourite, the ousted favourite, I should say, Fran, because she didn't go off favourite in the end, but there were worrying signs really from early on, I think, weren't there?
There were, the way she behaved in the ring, Gary, and she ran with the choke out, I thought, in the first furlong and a half, was quite strong in Shane Foley's hands, never dropped it. Not what you wanted to see when you're stepping up a furlong and trip. You're going from sprinting over 6 furlongs to over 7 furlongs with no cover. And for me, she was always doing it plenty. Ryan Moore was sat on her boot and liner, and it was a very good ride by Ryan because he put her to sword early.
Show you full replay and see the eventual winner there. Just try and pick her out for you, Love. Right on the wide outside from the stall 8 draw. And Albina immediately into a prominent position, Ruby. Did you share Fran's concerns that she might have been just doing a little bit too much
I
here?
did, and Kate was saying it here beside me. She's running fresh. She was, but Ryan Moore didn't give her any, I wouldn't say hinder, but didn't give her any help. He sat right in beside her, you know, and has kept her alive. His filly's good and relaxed. He's Shane Foley inside him on the obvious danger, and he's kept that filly alive. Now she switched off here, but it's that first furlong and a half where she had raced quite lazily in her first 2 starts. She's just used that energy early today and hasn't finished off. But you know, Ryan's in a lovely position. I mean, it's a pretty straightforward track from Ryan's draw. You're not going to get into trouble, but it's amazing. Aidan's horse are absolutely flying, and Ryan is riding the winners, and there's no one giving out about him this week.
We'll chart Daya's progress through here, Fran, because she has followed the eventual winner. Is there any bit of a hard look story? It doesn't look like it to me for her.
No, not at all. It only confirmed that she's got the trip, Gary. She hit the line very well, and you know, it hit a flat spot. She had done over 6 furlongs in Newmarket on her last start. The winners got away in her a little bit, but it's just true having a lack of a turn of foot at a vital stage. But when she's met the rising ground, she's ran on well. I think it's opened up a lot of options for her, and they'll be able to go forward into the rest of the season with a new targets in mind.
I'd say So Wonderful was the one to take out of it. Maybe she didn't get a great run as Ryan Moore picked up on Love. He's rolled over and Albina rolls in on So Wonderful there. You watch Ryan Moore now, he drifts over as he should and closes it up, makes it tight for Shamie Heffernan, who doesn't really have anywhere to go now. And I think So Wonderful is the one that might step forward from this.
Yes, interesting enough, So Wonderful was behind K.M. Pepper and Alpine Star, 2 other Harrington juveniles on their last couple of starts. Let's rejoin Nick.
Gary, thank you, with Roger Varian. It's another great run from Daya. I guess a little frustrating, Roger, but you know that she's going to keep turning up and keep running races like this in Group 1.
Yeah, always frustrating when you go so close, but no complaints, Nick. She ran a great race. She ran true to the line. She got the trip well. I thought we were going to reel the winner in, inside the final two, but winner looked very good and, stayed the trip very strong. And, that emotion we often get in this game. It's a delight at how she performed. Slight frustration at not winning.
Has anything she's done today made you think any differently to how you did before the race?
I don't think so. I mean, I thought she was up to this grade. Her form told you she was, her homework tells you she is, and her performance today confirms that. I had confidence that she'd get the stiff 7, but until she did it on the track, I suppose that was a question mark she had to answer. I actually felt she's performed today like a mile would be within her reach, and have to speak with Sheikh Nasser and his team, where we go next. But I think that hopefully she'll come out of this race good and sound, and she looks a good, strong 2-year-old filly, and hopefully another run or two this year.
Aidan was nominating the Fillies Mile as the likely next target for his winner of this race. Would you fancy a crack at her again? Fancy another crack at her again in that race?
Well, something that we'll consider, I'm sure. But the race that probably excites me most is to consider the juvenile fillies turf at Santa Anita. I think this filly is very well balanced. She handles fast ground. After today, she looks like she'll get the easy mile, and I'm sure that will be firmly in our sights. Whether we go to Newmarket before then, we'll have to see how she comes out of this race.
A little bit of Californian sunshine sounds nice. Roger, well done.
We might all enjoy that.
Roger Varian there with plenty to look forward to, with Daya, who's finished second here to love in the Moyglare Stud Stakes, and Kate's back with us. Kate, you've been out, obviously heard from Shane Foley and got the debrief. What was his take on the whole thing? Yeah,
we can just see them there. He thought he was going to pick up here with Love and have a good ding-dong battle, but she just levelled off a little bit. He said she was, he couldn't get her into a 90. She was just running a little bit in his hands for the first furlong and a half, and Ryan Moore was kind of just sitting on his boot, and he just couldn't get her into as nice a rhythm as he would have liked, and she just ran a little bit fresh and flattened out. No excuses, really.
And you don't obviously make knee-jerk decisions, see how she comes out of the race first and foremost. Having seen what you've seen today and seen that she ran a bit fresh, would you be keen to give her another go this season, do you think?
We'll let Mum make that decision. We'll see how she comes out of it. But she doesn't seem to be a bother. Like fitness definitely wasn't the issue here today. There's not a bother on her there in the parade ring afterwards. So Mum will make the decision. Alpha Centauri got beaten in this. Electra just mentioned that in this race as a 2-year-old. So if she can go on and do what Alpha did as a 3-year-old, we won't be too worried.
I think under the Stars reserves I mentioned, she'd be interested in going up to miles. Just when the pace increased, William Buchan's kicked down her outside in Daya, and she just lacked the gear to get going at a vital stage. Williams kicked on by her, but she's been running on well at death to be fourth, and definitely plenty to like about that.
With a look at the closing stages there, you can see one or two of them just on the inside, a little bit tight for In Tango, who was well back beforehand. In fairness, looked as though she was beaten at the time, and as Ruby said, So Wonderful was tightened up close home and might well have, at the very least, had a chance of finishing second, but for that. I suppose, Kate, you take some heart from the fact that the horses that eventually have dominated the finish here will certainly Love and So Wonderful, the first and third, have been behind some of your other fillies along the way, haven't they?
Yeah, so it's not too bad. We've got a good backing team. Albania didn't step up to the mark today, but we've got a good backing team going forward to the next few Group 1 fillies races over the next couple of weeks.
Presentation just taking place.
Well, a big mantelpiece of that trophy, wouldn't you?
Yes.
Beautiful.
It's impressive, isn't it? Is that the one they've always used for this? I don't know.
Oh no, guy, you never won it.
It's definitely the same national stake.
Did you win this now?
No, never won the Moyglare.
Just the same, isn't it?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, I didn't get to keep that one though. But just getting back to the race, Gary, it's one of the longest sponsorships in Irish race. Moyglare Stud, this race, it's been going on 20 odd years, so that, and it's it's great to see them here today. And I believe Ava Hafner's family are over to support the charity race, the Champions race, and obviously they've got a very good chance in a progressive filly search for a song in the Ledger.
It's the right way to sponsor a race. I mean, this race is known as the Moyglare. It's not anything else.
Let's go once again to Kevin O'Ryan.
Yes, Gary, many thanks. I have just soul searches trainer Ger Lyons. Heartbreaking, Ger. You've just got nudged done on the line for a third.
Yeah, she's ran with love all season. She's up there, she's stepping, but what I took out of that race is she's 6. You know, she's plenty of speed. Colin thought she'd nicked it and they just outstayed her. But she's a lovely, lovely filly, but it would have been lovely to be in the 3 and get the black type for them. But she's rock solid black type all summer, and we have a decision to make. Do we go and supplement for a Cheveley Park, or do we look after her for next year? So something to ponder on in the next day or two.
And I thought for a long way Ger Lyons going to land a second domestic Group 1 of the season.
Yeah, and she's smart. Like, she's doing everything right, and she is progressing. She's a lovely, lovely filly. As I said, we've bumped into love in her last 3. That's the 3rd time bumping into love. So we know what we're about. We know we're in the right company. We just have to get the trip right.
6 going forward?
I think so. She's got the speed of 6, just about to get 7. In this grade, you'd like to think you're going to be going 6. Good stuff. Cheers. Bye.
Interesting update from Ger Lyons there. After his filly soul search just outside the frame. This was the 1-2-3 Love, 6-1, a 9th win in the Moyglare Stud Stakes for Aidan O'Brien. Day 13-8 favourite and strong before the off was second. So wonderful. Checked a couple of times. 16-1 was third. And actually, some of the fillies that Aidan O'Brien's run in this race to get beaten, particularly in recent years, would include the list likes of Hermosa, Found, Rhododendron, Magical, etc. So one to note going forward. 3/4 of length between the first 2. A couple more Group 1 still to come. We've got the Vincent O'Brien National Stakes up next, and thereafter it will be the Coma Group International Irish St Ledger.
Well, runners are just starting to come into the parade ahead of our 3rd Group 1 of the afternoon. It's the Goffs of Vincent O'Brien Group 1 National Stakes. Joining me now is Chief Executive from Goffs, Henry Beebe, and it's such an appropriate race for your name and sponsorship to go hand in hand with Vincent O'Brien, because in the inaugural first yearling sales at the new Goffs complex, Vincent O'Brien gave what was then a record for Be My Guest.
Yes, 127,000 Irish guineas. It was a European record at the time. Back in 1975, and of course Vincent O'Brien represents all that's brilliant and wonderful about Irish racing, and I hope